All right, into game number one we go here for the second match of the WCI. It's GCAT against Hit and Run, and the team from China coming in with triple 60 TP, a singular 50B, one IS-7, one E5, and the mouse.
Yeah, pretty interesting setup, seeing as the 50B kind of ended up falling out of the fashion for quite a while. It has been quite a powerful pick during the 5v5s, but for 7v7 format, it's sort of a bit of a weird one, honestly, to the point where maybe even a T57 Heavy is a better choice in terms of consistent damage.
It has been used on Ghost Town in the past. First of all, let's take a look at the openings, though. Hit and Run coming in with double 60 TP, triple ice for 1E100 and the CS63, and they are looking to go K-line with that setup. Okay. The CS63 being split off towards the hill to gain some information. I believe the IS-7 should be spotted momentarily, but that leaves a lot of other tanks that are going to drive through the K-line, and we did see in the loading screen that a lot of them also have low noise exhausts. That is why Cousin right there, right now, does not spot the rotation over the K-line. That triple ice for that double 60 TP does not get seen, but we do have that. We do see that GCAT has a lot of assets in place to deal with this immediate pressure.
Perfect read as well, but now they just need to start actually hitting shots. First trade of shots actually goes the way of GCAT, though 60 TP of Rico does cop a little bit. But overall, the start of it does seem to be favoring the Chinese team a whole lot more. Though now that they hunker down, things could get a little bit more dicey.
We'll have to see. Rico there barely making a good way, but the punish is also there on towards Marcel in his 60 TP, and I think Hit and Run, they were going into that K-line probably expecting to take to do a lot of damage here, to maybe even get a pickup, but instead they got brutally punished. Now the rotation starting to come out with a 60 TP with that IS-4, as Rico now has to angle towards the hill, but I think he is unspotted, so should be okay.
Yeah, with that CS63 on the hill as well, things would be problematic for Rico. But in the meantime, the rest of the brawl is actually going not too shabby. Hit and Run managed to make a bit of a comeback here in terms of the health points. But overall, I mean, you're looking at the spread. Everybody took quite some damage. Rico took quite some damage. Maybe Hokayu as well. The rest are still fairly healthy. Whereas on the Hit and Run, the damage is sort of split out a little bit more evenly.
Yeah, Hit and Run, just like Opor, one of those teams that do a phenomenal job of essentially splitting up the damage taken just to keep more guns in the game. So yeah, indeed, Rico, he will have to be very, very careful. I mean, with a good roll from that CS63, he could even be a one-shot. That's obviously a bit of copium.
That would be a very healthy roll.
I mean, the max roll is 488 on that gun, but yeah, it is highly improbable. Maybe Monster could also whittle him down with HE a bit, but for that, first of all, to happen, Monster would need to be able to spot Rico, which currently isn't happening, and now we see the rotation coming up here. Monster might be committing in on towards that zero line. That might be detrimental, as that, that 50B, they do spot each other out, but it seems like Monster was able to smell out the bait here, as Hokyao in that 8 line is going to be moving back because he's in a 1v2, but the thing is, he will still have to cross G line, which would mean that the 60 TP would be able to punish.
Yeah, meanwhile, overall, the defense from GCAT did manage to slow things down quite a fair bit, stem the bleeding. Don't really engage too many times. Monster, yeah, took quite a fair bit of punishment because with Handsome, he decided to just press the things as much as he could, get that clip out, and then bail out, which exactly that's what happened. Though the trade's not as ideal as he wanted it to have, still now on half HP, with Monster just about being 2 shot worth of health points for him, unless he runs into one of the heavier tanks.
Hit and Run here, despite having the medium tank, are up in HP, but the thing is they need to attack, so they are going to be driving into stationary guns. Cousin driving into that 8 line is going to reinforce it because Minairos and Never are starting to commit onto Hokyao. Big shot, 850, together with one by Cousin. Slight roll, low roll here, but the tanks by Hit and Run, they're bleeding heavily for pushing through that 8 line, and the 60 TP in the courtyard does get pressured by Conrad in that E100. Rico down towards one shot, good hit into Cousin, but it's all over the place. The first kill for Piotr.
Yeah, good peek by Piotr, and good run away by Cousin as well. He does not catch the second shot of damage, which is great right now, because that means that now there's an isolated gunfight right at the end of the banana, and then the two IS-4, sorry, an IS-4 and a 60 now gets potentially sandwiched between his 50B and an IS-7, but right now Hokayu does go down once again, so things are not looking too pretty for GCAT.
Yeah, Piotr now trading it out against Buhui. Does connect the second shot, putting Buhui down towards one shot. Good connection by Buhui. Tip in the meanwhile able to pick up Marcel. Piotr should have the reload here onto Buhui, but good phaser coming out. Both of them bouncing.
Oh no.
That means that Buhui is going to have to reset here. Handsome getting picked up by Minaris in the meantime. Six guns for hit and run. Another pick up. Conrad from the backlines with the steel chair. Whips out Buhui out of the game. And all of a sudden, it is 3 players for GCAT against 6 of hit and run. Yes, the HP are close, but once again, the Polish team with the HP management.
Yeah, though Piotr does get ridden off by the 6TP of Tip, so that's at least make things a whole lot easier. But the collapse right now onto Cousin is going to be absolutely deadly. Never does take a bit of a damage, but at this point, Cousin needs to just hold them back as long as possible and get as much damage as potentially possible here, though not for long in this world.
Oh, bounce, I think, coming out by Minaris on connection here. Onto Cousin, Never there with a good connection. Cousin is turning around towards Never. Cousin does get the pickup, but Monster coming in from the back lines to save it here. Kubash still with the 1v1 against Tup in that one line, very isolated. So that means 3 tanks currently by hit and run, eyeing themselves everybody in the mouse as the next tank to pick up.
Yeah, everybody is going to be well, he's going to be in a lot of trouble really here, trying to bounce things. The 6TP may have some troubles, but it doesn't look like the case. Monster takes quite a fair bit of damage from that ram as well. Surely he manages to get at least the kill here, at least on the CS. There we go, there he goes. But the Mineros should have the reload enough yet to get the kill, and there it is. So it's all down to Tip as the last man standing here.
Yeah, unfortunately for Tip, that shot into the lower plate of the IS-4 does not connect, but it seems to me that hit and run at the end of this first round here, despite some difficulties, are going to take it home 1-0. In we go into game number 2. Hit and run against GCAT, 1-0 at the scoreline so far. Hit and run coming into this one with double 60TP, the M454 being picked, 1 IS-4, 1 IS-7, 1 E5, and the mouse to round it off.
Interesting choice for the M454, especially after the somewhat of a recent set of nerfs coming around. Look, I mean, the high alpha is still pretty solid. The mobility on that tank is quite nice as well, but I'm curious to see if it's the small or the big barrel, but...
it should be the big one. Like, if you play the small barrel, might as well play S-Conk, in my opinion.
Not wrong.
But yeah, on the other side, obviously, GCAT coming in with the mouse, E5, IS-4, 50B, double 60TP, and the 277. Now, the most important thing is going to be how the teams start off. For GCAT, we see triple tank, I believe, on the hill, double towards 8 line, double towards K line. Would be interesting to know if they actually have low noise exhaust to cross over.
Don't think I spotted any.
I didn't think so either, but then again, I didn't look terribly hard, so we'll have to see. And by hit and run, we see the mouse in a C6 position that they've adopted recently. That's actually a good tank to punish the cross. We can see Tup there only having his gun damage, but he's going to be deterred. Marcel driving in towards G23. He takes 1 shot, but that's a good hold down.
Speaking of that 6-6 position, that's actually something that within APAC we've been playing for quite a fair long while, including even during the 5v5 tournament. So it's something that is a very, very effective position, especially to keep on attracting some of the attention and to make some of the crossfires a whole lot more efficient. But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far from GCAT, getting that pressure going, getting Conrad's attention now over to that 277. Plus, speaking with that with the turret as well, will be quite rather difficult to get any sort of penetration either.
Yeah, the thing is that the 277 over the course of the game is going to have good trades, just like Never there, doing a number onto everybody. Good connection by the 60TP there. But what I was saying about in that B line is that Mouse, it cannot really angle effectively against the 340 heat pen that the 277 brings. It's even like a 60% pen chance if he hits the correct spot. Obviously at that distance, not guaranteed, but the Mouse is going to lose out in the long run there. That being said though, GCAT, they have the 277 established in B0, but I think they're eyeing themselves some of that K-line push potential.
Yeah, wow, that is a lot of damage that just went into Hokiao as well. That is quite unfortunate. But I do want to quickly highlight the position of the T110E5, the position where they could actually utilize quite thoroughly to try to wedge the IS-4 maybe just ever so slightly, but as of now, it doesn't seem to be the case. Hokiao needs to be a little bit more careful about how he presents himself, because right now with Piotr starting to move around towards a different window to get that shot onto the IS-4, things could get a little bit more problematic, seeing as there's no real other coverage apart from that 60TP just around the corner.
Yeah, the thing is, the E5 position that you mentioned in like K5-6 behind the church, that is a big asset that Hit and Run have currently. Another shed taken here by the team in purple, but basically that E5, he's going to come as a big surprise, but that asset, it might become a liability at some point. If there is enough tanks by GCAT pushing that K line, he would be the immediate and the very easy focus fire at such short distances. The E5 would just melt. That would just be like, hey, pick me up and, you know, go from there.
Yeah, well, Buhui seems to be just waiting for the opportunity to arrive, but it seems like the rendezvous over at the K6, K7 is looking to mount up some sort of an offensive now that the 60TP is starting to move away from that corner at the G7 as well. So it's looking like the squad of GCAT looking to push the church and try to isolate either one of the two 60TPs.
The push starting to get called here, and now Never, he's going to try to hit that 50B on the cross here.
With them as well.
Yeah, 50B doing a good job of staying behind the mouse, but now the shots from the cross starting to come in. The 50B down towards 1400 HP. Minairos actually with the getaway here. Absolute Houdini pulled by the 5 player. He's going to get out of there. He takes one more shot, but crucially, he does stay alive. Good plays by Minairos.
Still, the HP difference is not as bad, though maybe just slight amount of copium from me, but everybody needs to start getting into this safe position. With Rico, once again, man is cursed, really. He's the first one who took majority of the damage in the first round. He's the first to take the majority of the damage in the second round. Things are definitely looking a little bit problematic for him, but that rotation from Never now could make things a whole lot more problematic. I say that, though. Minus 703.
And now GCAT, they're sensing that the mouse by Hit and Run is actually out of the game. That is why the push in the Mercedes area is now going to get pulled off. Marcel down towards a 2-shot here, drops down towards 442.
Oh no.
We'll see Buhui does not roll him. And from the back lines, Chip with a big connection into Never. The 50B, Handsome is the next one on the chopping block for the team of Hit and Run here, as they are ahead 2k HP, but they have the mouse out of the game.
Yeah, Buhui as well is next on the chopping block. Kubarj does make sure that he won't leave for too long. Tip and everybody are the last two remaining on the railroad here. IS-4 of Hokkaido is unfortunately a little bit too little too late. Meanwhile, there is also a brawl at the C5, but at this point it is very much negligible, as it looks like GCAT are definitely thwarting here.
Yeah, now some more connections coming in from the team of GCAT, but now finally Hit and Run has reloaded. Are retaliating, the 60TP taken out of the game. That is Rico. Also gone. Piotr shutting him down. Kubash with the flank onto everybody, and it's almost nobody remaining for GCAT here. Still 1000 HP difference, but the guns are the number of the game. Minairos still alive on 45, able to provide DPM, and the problem here by GCAT, they simply don't have the guns available anymore. Hokyao down towards 680, Monster coming in here, down towards 10, down towards 0. It's only Cousin remaining, and Hit and Run. They did look a bit shaky, I would say, but 2-0 in the end is a comfortable scoreline.
Yeah. Look, their overall control of the map has been quite phenomenal on the round number 2, more so than the round number 1, I'll have to say, Keyhand. The way how they've managed to handle their momentum, once again, like you highlighted as well before, the ability to handle the damage spread as well has been absolutely stunning. And, well, it left really GCAT with quite nothing really to acquire here. I mean, even now, Minairos being on 45 HP, still alive, still kicking, all courtesy of the rest of the team being able to cover him.
Yeah, now Hit and Run, basically, they know that they have won this round.
Wait,
here.
actually,
maybe not. I mean, anything but that would be
actually,
a huge upset.
I'm trolling.
Considering they're defending, I mean, 2000 HP difference as well. But the thing is, I think Cousin is doing the sensible thing here and just driving away towards his own spawn. Yeah, you could say, you know, just drive in, give them the victory finally. But the thing is that, you know, you're now down 2-0 effectively. If you're GCAT, and if you're Cousin, you just want to give every single second possible to your team to just mentally get away from the defeat that you just had. You're probably not even looking at your screen anymore because you don't want to see what's going on realistically.
Just reset,
Yeah, just mentally reset, forget Himmelsdorf ever happened, and now focus one round at a time at what you're supposed to do, which is basically take the first victory in the group stage. It's not going to be easy, but it's not impossible either. It's only a best of 5.
That's true, yeah. quite limited time here overall on the stage, at least for the first matchup, and it looks like GCAT will only get one more chance to really get any sort of redemption here going into the round number 3 later down the line. But yeah, you are very much correct. Yeah, just spend that extra minute to just stalk out with the team, make sure they recuperate, make sure they just sort of, well, reset themselves mentally, because yeah, right now the mental fortitude is not going to be particularly too great, because if, at least in terms of Falcons, it was a bit of a back and forth, in this case it was very much one-sided.
All right, into round number 3 we go. It is match point for Hit and Run that do come into their attack with double 60 TP, a single i7 double mouse, 1 S-Conk, and the CS63.
And meanwhile, on the side of introducing for Handsome an IS-7 with the Grouses as well, trying to get that extra bit of mobility to go. Definitely is talking about the, well, potential scouting plays. Both IS-7s, yeah, you are correct. I'm curious to see how will GCAT really looking to exploit the IS-7, seeing as the mobility is already out there. Maybe turn it into those fast scout support, I suppose, for the CS63.
I mean, the thing also, if there is a CS63 on the team, that can boost the IS-7s. That's something the other team needs to keep in mind, needs to respect. We do see that it's not going to be the case here. Instead, Cousin, with that low noise exhaust, does spot out the southwestern part of the map where, well, he doesn't find a whole lot of tanks. GCAT here aiming towards that southwestern part. And yeah, they don't find anyone. That is a lot of alpha that is being committed right now in towards the K1 the direction where Piotr is being sent, but I think that is out of render where he is currently. He doesn't even get spotted, and I think the timing is over. GCAT knows it. That was just a timed opening by them, and instead Hawkyao in the mouse taking the first shot for advancing on the H line. Not really sure who dealt the damage, might have been Piotr, but yeah, initial setup, never good shot.
Interesting to see that it's the similar IS-7 setup as well for GCAT, similar to how Falcons did it as well on the Ghost Town, which is quite curious to see, because last time we've seen it from Falcons, they could not really safely break that K1 position. Meanwhile, on the side of the Hit and Run, very, very concentrated presence right around the 2 flag, which is going to be basically a kill zone really there for them.
Yeah, and now we do see the game slowing down a bit. I mean, historically, Ghost Town, one of those maps where a lot of heavy tanks got picked, but it wasn't entirely devoid of mediums either, because those outside angles on the 1 line, on the A line, on the K line, as soon as you get those angles down, you can really start to nail down the opponents that are trying to move around in the city. Hawkyao now in a bit of a predicament, down to 1700, so far GCAT trying to throw a lot of stuff at Hit and Run, nothing sticking, and now they're bowing out of this southern part of the map, admitting it's not going to be there that they're going to be attacking.
Admittedly, a better decision rather than just trying to stick around that same hill position. Try to maybe reinforce the city, because knowing how the European team so far played the Ghost Town center, it is going to get quite aggressive quite quickly as well. So reinforcing those spots, making sure that you are prepared for the isolation plays. Those will be the key ones as well for Hit and Runs to hit. And for Hawkyao, he just needs to just fall back a little bit, because the moment he gets isolated, well, Tip will take its time to rotate. Rico, yeah, I doubt that he will rotate either here. So things could get rather problematic for the mouse, and you would want to keep the mouse in the brawl just as that punching bag.
Yeah, and look at how clean Hit and Run is playing this currently. They have removed basically half a mouse, then they have taken, they've done a shot of damage onto 1 IS-7, they've done a shot of damage on towards the 60 TP, even Piotr now moving up in that IS-7 towards the K4 position, so another bit of map control switching over towards Hit and Run that haven't taken a single point of damage, not even by HE at this point.
Yeah, good timing as well for Piotr to rotate. Interesting to see that Cousin decides to go just into the field to scout out, maybe assuming that there might be some presence on the flank already. Well, partially he will be quite correct, but it is on the northern hill instead. I believe that is the Super Conqueror that is actually going to be sitting there. Handsome's position, yeah, not bad, but at the same time needs to be very, very careful. Everybody is also now highlighted. Potentially could be the main target, or either him or Hawkyao.
Yeah, Marcel now finally taking the first shot of damage on the lineup of Hit and Run, but we can already see that he, before that, did another shot into Hokiao, who's down towards 791. Now, though, GCAT coming into the cap number 2 here. Handsome does get tracked. If we do see a double track, that could be detrimental. It's not going to come out. Huge punishment onto Conrad, and this is a cap commitment that was better executed than what we saw by Opur here. Both Buhui and Handsome now in the cap, and there's a lot of tanks to cover.
Yeah, a lot of tanks to cover, a lot of flanks starting to come around. Marcel about to be pressured even more. Hokyu finally gone as well, but now with Tip starting to peek around, him against Marcel and Monster, whilst Buhui is getting actually pushed even further. Marcel is over the hill. He needs the support right now to come through, but it seems like neither Kazan nor Tip can actually help Buhui here in any shape or form. Marcel finally has the loader down, it seems, but things are definitely not looking too pretty for GCAT as the health disadvantage now in the 4,000.
Yeah, exactly. Monster is probably going to win his 1v1 as he does, pulls off the reload, and now Handsome is in a big piece of trouble here as Marcel pulls a number onto everybody who loses 1700 HP in the blink of an eye. Handsome down towards a one-shot, and Hit and Run are making this look easy. 7 players still available with more than double the amount of HP. Piotr with the next kill of the game. Handsome not looking so good anymore as Marcel does get his loader back, and now it is 7 versus 3 remaining tanks for Hit and Run that are looking at a clean 3-0 scoreline. This is what we expected from the European teams, and Hit and Run delivers.
Yeah, they certainly did deliver, though quite a fair bit of a disappointing turnaround from GCAT, really. They had the setups, they had the original aggression really nicely done, but the coverage from there on out was absolutely abysmal, and, well, that's the result of it all. Well played by Hit and Run, though. They managed to really handle this whole pressure really nicely, including even the presence of Kubash, who was applying that outside pressure to prevent any sort of, well, walkouts.
Yeah, I mean,